5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. I am Wild Chevy, and I'm joined by Casey. Casey, how are you today?
Well, we'll see how this show goes tonight, Alan. We are actually testing out a new technology this evening. It's something that I like to call a cellular phone, or in this case, perhaps a mobile device. I'm working on patenting that term.
Is it smart?
Well, I'm smart, so you could call this a smart device.
By proxy?
Yeah, like I said, this is cutting-edge technology, people. Hopefully you'll see it on the market in the next 4 to 5 years.
We shall see.
No promises. Not everybody can be as cool or as fancy as I am. So the real truth is that my computer has just totally crapped out on me, so we're trying to film this using my phone.
Must be a nomad hacker in the area.
Or a mad 3-year-old with access to my keyboard.
That too.
Oh, and if you look, I can move the camera around. Here's my lovely wife, Natalie. She said we aren't allowed to talk about certain topics tonight.
Hey, if you want to get hit, you can get hit by your own lonesome.
And we'll have it captured and immortalized on the internet.
So, folks, this is the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is a weekly show where we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. Let's roll off and see what we've done this week. Casey, what have you done in the hobby world?
So, I actually got some gaming in this week.
Nice.
I managed to get in my first games of N3. So, should we talk about that, or you got
Sure.
You got a little bit of time?
This is the first game that either of us have played for N3. What did you think?
Which is kind of hilarious considering how much time we spend talking about Infinity.
We read. We don't play.
It turns out when you have like school or like kids, your time is a little bit limited. But that's okay because you can actually play a game of Infinity pretty quick. We went down to our local game store. We set up a table. I brought my Steel Famlex. My buddy Austin that I was playing against, he brought his Nomads. And we each brought 200-point lists, and we just kind of played around with the new rules. We played a scenario from the back of the book. It's the one where you divide the playing space into quarters, and inside of each quarter is like a little hackable objective. And the whole point of it is quarter control, or table control. So whoever has the most points in each quarter, and then you score it over at the end of each game turn. So I had some pictures on my computer that I was going to show you, but we won't be able to do that. A couple things we found out. One is that Ajax is no joke in close combat. You're automatically hitting, and you're critting on, I think, a 13 or a 14. It's hilarious what an explosive combat weapon does to people, especially when they don't have any armor.
That's pretty nasty.
But at the same time, Austin was able to bring a bunch of hackers, and so he was doing all sorts of scary magic hacker voodoo going on. He was shutting guys down, isolating guys, really just having a good time at my expense.
So how did it turn out?
Austin won. It was I got to give him credit. It was a solid win on his part. I was actually I opted to go first because I wanted to get my guys up on the objective as quickly as possible. And so I kind of came out to an early lead. He managed to tie it up in the second turn. And then in the third turn, he had killed me off of my objective so much that he was able just to walk. He didn't even have to do any shooting in his last turn. He didn't even bother with it.
Wow.
He just kind of like tiptoed a tag into one table corner, tiptoed a couple a couple wildcats into another corner, and he just kind of laughed and said, "I win." So it's fast, it's killy. I think we're still going to need to spend a little bit more time with the hacking rules, because there's a few instances where it just didn't feel right. Like, for example, we had Ajax who was going around a corner who's a heavy infantry. Well, I shouldn't say that. He was going straight, and then we had but he's within the zone of control of a repeater, which he couldn't see. And so he did a hacking ARO. I was kind of under the assumption that there was some way for me to have like an opposing roll or respond to that in some way.
You can dodge it.
You can dodge a hack.
Yeah, you can dodge out of the zone of control.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we weren't quite sure about that. So it was just fortunately, Austin did not pass his willpower check, so Ajax did not get immobilized. But he was promptly gunned down then by an iguana with an HMG, so it doesn't really matter.
So what are your thoughts on the new rules set?
It makes a lot more sense, and I think Corvus Belli has done a really nice job with their rulebook. It's all very easy to read. The PDFs look really nice. And I'm going to say, but now that I've been reading it for a while, and we have all the different documents out, I'm going to repeat what I said a while ago, and that I really wish they would have collected Human Sphere and Campaign Paradiso into this book. No, I understand why they did it, and they gave their reasons for that. They said they didn't want to invalidate people who already own those two books. But it is very clunky trying to move back and forth through rules. Like they might mention inside the core rulebook on a left unit, and then you go and you try and look up that left unit, but it's not there because that was a Human Sphere edition. So you're really bouncing back and forth between a lot of different books and a lot of different documents to make everything work.
So will this be something that will be alleviated by when it comes out?
It might be a little bit. And, we've just kind of been trained to say, well, the new army builder will solve a lot of things, or there's always the wiki that you can go and look things up on. But the truth is that they really had the opportunity, I think, to streamline things a little bit better. And I realize it would have been more work on their part, but I know a lot of people who are just starting to get into the game because of the success of Operation Ice Storm, and with all the buzz that the new rules have been getting. They get excited, they get the book, and they say, all right, now I'm ready to play. And I go, well, okay, so you're actually going to need this PDF. And then you're going to need this PDF. And this is to reference this rule. So, it's all functional. And arguably it's as functional as it was before. So it's not like we've taken a step backwards or anything. It was really just kind of a missed opportunity. At least that's been my experience so far. Other people might have just a little different opinions.
Anything else that you did this week?
Does buying things count?
Buying things always counts. Shiny syndrome.
I did manage to get my pre-order in for Angel Giraldez' book.
Yeah. What's 5,500 copies, and sells out in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was a little bit interesting. As you and I both, I think we ordered from the War Store. Shameless plug for the War Store over in Neil. Awesome prices, awesome customer service. Neil always gets it done. He takes care of you. But yeah, there was some confusion because Corvus Billy said that it wasn't actually going to be on pre-order till today. But evidently all the other stores were pre-ordering before that, and they sold out.
Yeah, this is a very limited pre-order. And it comes with a limited edition Joan of Arc sculpt. So a lot of people were wanting to get this book. And like Casey said, a few sites had the pre-orders early and got them all filled up.
Yeah, this was definitely one of those cases where if you snoozed, you lose. Lost. That doesn't sound as good. That's okay. I'm on drugs right now, so I don't need to make any sense.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see this book. I mean, it goes towards the success of Angel, that everybody wants this book, and maybe there'll be a second run. Who knows?
Yeah, they told us that it was a limited edition book. So what that means, I'm really not sure. Does that mean that it won't ever be printed again, like we won't get a second edition? Or does that mean in the future all we're going to get is the book without like the model? So I'm really not sure. I could see a lot of people, if they do a second edition, might be a little turned off by that. But,
well, I guess it's the same number of copies as Operation Ice Storm. And that one lasted about 6 months?
Sure, but you're also talking about a very different product here. Operation Ice Storm was a $100 product. And it was only for the people who were interested in playing Infinity, whether it be current fans or new fans looking to get into it. Whereas Angel Giraldez has really made a name for himself as a painter throughout the miniature world. People know him who don't play Infinity or don't even play any games at all, that are just painters. So I think you appealed to a lot wider audience with this book than you would Operation Ice Storm. I mean, on top of that, you're also looking at half the price, which is immediately going to get more people interested. So I think, yeah. Say hi, Natalie.
I'm very sick. I don't know why you want to hear me talk.
She's very sick. But I can kind of see why Angel limited it. This was a book that he financed himself. Not just the printing of it, but I mean, also he had to do all, finance all the editing, all the layout, and all the technical work that went on behind it. He actually took out a loan, like a personal loan. So I'm sure he's more than happy with this all selling out right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's wishing that he had another 5,000 copies to sell. But then I also have to wonder how many people are also buying it for just the limited edition mini.
And then, I mean, we see like with Weird Miniatures, they run their limited edition figs for Black Friday, for Gen Con, and you see those on eBay for 3 times the price. So, are we going to see a whole bunch of Joan of Arc miniatures out there? Probably.
That's interesting. Well, Alan, here's a question for you. Would you be willing to just let go of Joan of Arc?
I have a hard time letting go of any of my miniatures.
I know we all do, don't we? But, I mean, like, seriously. So, for instance, I have a Malifaux figure sitting in my closet right now, and I was looking at it, what it was going for on eBay. And a few people are asking for about $100, but for the single miniature. But, it's reasonably selling for about 50 to 60 for a single miniature. So you have to ask yourself, like, at what point do you just say it's too good of a deal to not let it go? I mean, 50, 60 bucks, there's a lot of other things I could do with that money hobby-wise.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, maybe if I got the right offer, but I really don't think I would want to sell it right now.
Okay. Well, let's play a little game, Alan. Let's say I offer you $50 for this mini. Would you sell it?
No.
$50 cash.
Nope.
All right. I've got $75 cash. Would you sell it?
No.
$100 cash. Cash money right here. We're staying in the local game store. And I'll even buy you a Coke on top of it, or whatever your drink of choice is.
No, I don't think it'd work. This is a limited edition. Almost one of a kind.
Obviously, it's not one of a kind. I mean, they made at least 5,000 of them. All right. Final offer. $200 for this miniature.
No.
Wow. Really? Because I think at $75, I turned around and let this thing go. I wished it on for well.
I mean, yeah.
So how do you make that decision personally?
Hmm?
When to hold him and when to let him go?
I think that really depends on the person.
And I'm asking you.
And like I said, I have a real hard time letting go of my miniatures. I don't know, because I work so hard to earn them. I'm not sure.
Fair enough. I guess I'm a little bit more analytical in what I do. So I start seeing I say $75. Wow, that's a solid down payment on something like an airbrush, or that's a lot of, that's almost a whole Infinity army right there for a single miniature. It's kind of hard to say no to that.
But I got a lot of limited I got a lot of limited miniatures in my collection here, and they look pretty when they're painted up. So.
Fair point, no doubt about that. Okay, so, but less about how we collect everything. But let's go back to Angel's book. So, do you have a picture of it?
The last picture I have of it is one with a big sold out sign on it.
Sure, let's bring that up if you have it. I would do it myself, but.
Just a second here.
So I mentioned a minute ago that I don't own an airbrush, and I was a little worried about this book. Oh, yeah.
Yep, there it is. The Angel Giraldez Masterclass Volume 1, painting miniatures from A to Z. It's Volume 1, so there's more than likely there's going to be a Volume 2 in the future. Pre-orders will receive the limited edition Jeanne d'Arc. And this one sold out in 30 seconds actually crashed the Infinity web store. And if you look over in the comment section, there's a lot of people crying.
I can't imagine why. Like I said, honestly, if you really wanted this book, I don't see why people were waiting. We knew it was going to be a limited edition. But one of the things that has me excited about it is that Angel was saying that this book isn't just about airbrushing. I mean, he does a lot of airbrushing for Infinity miniatures, but this book is also going to involve things like glazing, highlighting, wet blending of colors.
Masking.
Yeah, obviously there will be some airbrushing, but he's going to be covering a lot of other topics.
Well, I mean, A few things I already learned from Angel, I've already used in practice recently. Right here, the Twilight Knight from Kingdom Death. I've had this the flesh done on this miniature for a while now, but I wanted to redo her cloak. So from Angel, I picked up a bottle of liquid mask and made sure to cover all the flesh areas and all that, and I got this thing busted out in a couple hours.
Wow, for a couple hours work, that looks amazing. I'm lucky to have something base coated in a couple hours. So yeah, I think this book is actually going to be I'm really excited for this thing. So provided I'm actually getting it. So, and I won't believe it till it actually shows up on my doorstep. But fortunately, we also have a supplied miniature to test out all the skills on.
Yeah, and I think he does have a step-by-step painting guide. So
Specifically for this model. Yeah, that was actually one of the teaser videos.
yeah.
So, but speaking of teasers, GW, the people we love to hate, or at least some of us, they've been teasing us with a new set of models. So we've already seen the Harlequins. We'll call them their Wave 1, or their first week of models. But we also just saw their new Star Weavers, their jet bikes.
Yeah. Now it's interesting. So is this a codex, or is this going to be a just a small release, like the Imperial Knight?
Well, the Imperial Knight did get a codex, if you remember.
But I mean, it wasn't like a real codex. It was like these data slates where it was 2 pages of rules and 50 pages of fluff.
Well, nobody knows for sure how big the Harlequins release is going to be. So right now we have one HQ unit, we have one troop unit, we're getting some jet bikes, and it's rumored that we might be getting a transport as well. So I hate to use the term mini codex because they've been calling them more like data slates, but I think that's what we could be seeing, is maybe like a small 50-page PDF.
It'll be interesting. I mean, last week we had the Necron Codex, and these Harlequins are really overshadowing that Necron release.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, these are. I'll say that. Can we bring up like maybe a bigger picture of one of these guys?
Like one of the troops?
Yeah, just pick one at random.
Right, here we go. We have one of the. Looks like he has he's got the Harlequin mask and shuriken pistol. Looks like very dynamic pose on all these.
Yeah. So, and there's no reason why these shouldn't be overshadowing the Necrons. The Necrons got our new book. It didn't really do anything amazing. It just kind of cleaned everything up for 6th edition. And they had a single mono pose blister of a Necron Lord, and it was a nice Lord. I think both you and I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. But at the end of the day, you just kind of looked at it and nodded and said, "Yeah, that's a Necron. That's what they look like." Versus these guys, we haven't seen Harlequin models in a long, long time. I want to say this is the first time we've seen them in plastic, right?
They were metal. I have the ones here in metal. Then they went to fine cast, and now they're plastic.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can tell that GW has pulled out all the stops on these guys. Each one is incredibly dynamic, very, very unique. The detail on them looks amazing. And the GW Studio painters, I don't know if we call them the heavy metal team anymore, But oh, they've just done an amazing job on these models. I mean, you look at Necrons and you look at some of the like the Blood Angels, and you just kind of say, yeah, that looks about right. And to a certain extent, you say, I can do that. It's a fairly simple paint job. But they've spent a long, long time making these babies look good.
Yeah, probably so much so that we're probably not going to see a video on how to paint these.
Maybe. You never know. I mean, if I was one of the GW painters, I'd be wanting to show off how I did all of this.
Now, my only grievance with this release is, so we have the Solitaire here, the HQ.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clamshell plastic sprue, and it is over half the price of the 6 miniature plastics kit.
Are you insinuating that a single model is not worth half of another 6?
I don't know if I want to buy it. I mean, that's a real tough call just to spend that much money for one single blister.
No, I'm with you 100%. It actually makes no sense at all. It's roughly the same kind of pose. It's the same level of detail. You could say it's really equivalent to any of the other models that we see in the box or in the troop box. And that's because he's doing a very similar pose, very similar outfit. I mean, if you mixed him in with the rest of that troop, and you didn't, and nobody had ever said he was anything special, nobody would look twice at him.
And I know everybody's worried about GW's future, but to keep up pricing like this, it's going to be hard to justify.
Yeah, I mean, eventually people are just going to stop paying it. It's pretty simple economics. They're going to find that line when people are no longer willing to pay it. I mean, personally, my feeling on most models is I'm willing to pay about $10 to $15 for a single model. Beyond that, you've really got to sell it to me. So when I see a model that's 25 or 30, gosh, because I mean the Necron Lord, I want to say he was $26 or $27.
Yeah.
I can't justify that to myself. At the same time, though, I mean, when I get like a tactical box of Marines for $45, $50, I consider that a bargain.
Yeah.
So, if anything, this is all the more reason for you just to buy the troop box and just kit bash your own model. So, but in addition to that, I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Maybe we could bring up the new jet bikes.
I don't have any of those. Those
Okay,
are all the
well, they're called
originals.
Star Weaver. They look amazing. You got one guy flying, and then you got another guy standing on the back of it, kind of like riding it like a surfboard. We don't know the stats on these yet. Obviously, we probably, as we get closer to the end of the week, we'll probably start seeing some leaks on it. But I'm willing to bet you're going to see probably like your regular jet bike stats with maybe like an additional wound, probably some extra shooting, maybe a little bit better in close combat, which is kind of amazing. The Dark Elder jet bikes are already formidable in combat, and the Eldar bikes are pretty formidable in shooting. So, I think they did a really great job on these models. They've got, the Harlequins themselves look pretty different from the other Eldar. They look almost nothing like vanilla Eldar, and there's a few, pointy noses, pointy ears in places, but they don't really look much like Dark Eldar either.
No, and they can before they could be used for both armies. And so maybe this we'll see a new allies chart for them that they can be used in both armies again. But for the longest time, I wanted a Harlequin army just because if all fully painted, they'll look amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna, Psycho Death Clowns from space are kind of like the thing of my nightmares. So I will never ever field any of them at all. I will appreciate their technical quality, but I don't even want to paint them.
I just worried that you'll hear laughter when you turn off the lights.
I will wake up in the middle of the night, all right, and that troop will all be lined up, like along my dresser, staring at me. Like I'll start having bad dreams about them. I'll start finding them like at my drawer, like in my office drawers at work. You know, then my daughter's gonna start saying weird things about the laughing god, and I'm gonna have to like end up burning down my house or something like that. So that's why I can't actually buy these models.
All you have to do is just put up some wolf runes. You'll be fine.
Space wolves to the rescue, huh? To be fair, I've got enough Tau that they'll double tap the crap out of them. So, but yeah, the jet bikes look great. They definitely tie in. They look like an Eldar jet bike. They've got the real sleek look to them. They have kind of almost like a dark Eldar feel to it. But they definitely have like some kind of like shuriken cannon or something underneath it. They've just done a really nice job with these bikes. So joking aside, I could actually see myself just picking up a single one of these bikes just to paint it because it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. When the White Dwarf comes out this week, we'll have more information on those.
Yeah, and it's been nice. GW is actually releasing these things at a pretty good clip, so I imagine by the end of February we should have. I'm not going to call it a full-fledged army. I'm not sure we're actually going to see like any more troops. We might see like an elite or like an elite unit or maybe like a heavy assault unit. Maybe like one more vehicle like a troop transport. But by the end of that, we should have a codex as well, or whatever set of rules they're going to use for them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think. So with the Necron Codex out of the way, we've got. What do we have left that hasn't been updated now?
I think everything has been updated.
Sisters are still kind of.
Well, they got their White Dwarf Codex, so I guess we might see an Inquisitor army, but that'd be a brand new. Like Harlequins would be a brand new army. So, I mean, we might be seeing some brand new armies hitting this year.
Yeah, and I think that'd be phenomenal. And I'd love for it to be just like small little releases like this, where they just spend like one whole month and we get one or two HQs, a single troop, maybe a single vehicle, maybe two. Maybe depending on the army, maybe like a fast attack option or an elite option, and just that. And then you get a small codex, and it's almost like it's designed to be an allied army. Not really to stand on its own. I mean, obviously, you could turn this into a full-fledged army. It's not going to have much variety in it, but just a really, really flavorful little fun complement to add to your existing armies. So, I know you'll be buying it, right?
Maybe if I was still playing, I would. If playing more actively, maybe I would. I'm withholding some cash at the moment.
Well, you're actually thinking about letting go of one of your armies, aren't you?
You're not going to start singing Frozen songs, are you?
Well, I didn't hear that.
So you're not going to start singing your Frozen songs, are you?
No.
Okay.
Would you like me to?
No, not for the sake of ratings.
You got to have people watching first before you can have ratings, my friend. When no one's watching, we have no one to lose. But no, seriously, were you thinking about letting something go?
No.
No? Okay. I thought you were talking about losing your Tyranids.
No. I got some old stuff that I'm going to get rid of, but...
Oh, okay. Not the whole army. One of these days they're going to be amazing, right?
You always hope and pray.
Do bugs pray? How they have like their little tiny claws, you know?
Pray before eating a Imperial Guard.
Our Turvagon, who art over there, hallowed be thy name. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I've got for the evening. When I try to start making up like religions for Tyranids, you know, it might be time to call it quits.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess on that bombshell, we'll call it for this episode.
You heard it here first, folks. The bugs are a religion.
Thank you guys for watching the show. Tune in next week. If you agree or disagree with us, please put it down in the comments. Let us know. And
Bugs more Methodist or Presbyterians?
they're Hindi.
No, they're Mormons. They're totally Mormons, and I can say that because I'm one of them.
Does that mean they're going to have multiple wives?
No, because they all want to absorb you into their collective, and they birth like 1 million babies.
Yes, please comment below. Let us know what you think. Like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to see more. We'll do this every week.
We're the Atomic Salt, and we've just blown your mind.
Night, guys.